Welcome to the rest of my life. I'm Lance Ash and heading to work. Now, damn silverware is rattling in my lunch bag. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Alright, now, I think I've got the pattern down now. First item on the business is to tell you what CDs I have. Alright, I'm going to tell you the bag I use to carry my CDs to work in comfortably holds 8 to 9 CDs, but today I think I've got 10 in there. Alright, let's start off. What do we got? Pink Floyd, Obscured by Clouds. I have a CD labeled Herb Alpert Volume 1, which I think is an LP to CD transfer of 2 of his albums, but I don't know which ones. Alright, I have one of those Trash or Take radio play CDs in here, the same one as last week. Susie and the Banshees, Hyena. Tom Waits' Frank's Wild Years. The Blade Runner soundtrack, which in the movie is very atmospheric and very 80s and very moody, but on the CD, on the album itself, it sounds like a old porn soundtrack. Mastodon, Leviathan, High on Fire, De Vermis Mysterious, The Beatles, Revolver, and the first Traveling Wilburys album. Alright, the topic I have in mind for today, the only topic I have on the list, the only thing I had time to think of, was anecdotes or memories from my time in high school. So, let's get to it. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, I may have mentioned this before, but since the school was a private Christian school, they didn't associate with public schools. So any competitions or exhibitions or sports that were interactions with other schools were done within the circle of other private schools or other private Christian schools, and it was something they had cooked up over time, realizing that they needed something like that, because there's no way they could compete, especially in sports, with public schools. So anyway, every year there was a arts and music competition thing within the school, and you could submit drawings or whatever, and the school chorus would cook up some hot number to submit. Anyway, so the art teacher, who was the sister-in-law of the guy who owned the school, she ran the art and music appreciation classes, and she ran the art competition. So if you wanted to submit artwork, you had to submit a certain amount. There was a limit on how many pieces you could submit, but I think it was like half and half. Half had to be religious themed, and the other half had to be secular themed, or could be secular themed. So I don't remember that may be wrong, because I don't remember submitting any religious themed work. But the point I'm getting at is, one year I submitted drawings I had done of imaginary dinosaurs. They weren't any known species of dinosaurs, and it was like 3 of them. They were terrible. But a little later in the day, after I had submitted them, she comes up to me in the hall and with the drawings, and she goes, "Oh, Lance, I saw these drawings that you submitted, and I really think that you ought to put like a note on them saying, that these creatures, we as Christians, we don't know that these dinosaurs really existed. And tell you another one. I'm trying to think of something that's involving her. Oh, my mind's all in the confusion. I'm supposed to report for jury duty on Tuesday, if it goes through. I'm supposed to call tomorrow afternoon and listen to a message saying whether you actually have to go through with showing up or not. And my wife is convinced that it's a done deal and that I'm going to have to go, and I still think that the regular procedure is in effect. And so there's been a lot of tension this weekend, and so I'm a little bit of a brain fog at the moment. I hate that word, brain fog. It comes from the movie Joe and the Volcano. Joe versus the Volcano. Not a very good movie, to be honest. Oh, forget all that. The New Kids in the Hall started a couple of days ago, and we've seen 5 of the 8 new episodes, and I think they're pretty good. There's a lot of similarities with the old series, and I don't mean just the characters, carryover characters, but there's the theme song, the way the credits are done, the little black and white footage of them on the street to be the intermediary between the different sketches. But there's a difference. There's no stuff shot in front of a studio audience, so there's no laughter from some bunch of people in a studio somewhere. And also, they're freer to be much more scatological, freer with whatever language they want to use, freer with nudity. It's very interesting. Oh, me. Hold on. I'm working on this project that I've had in mind for a long time. Several years ago, I found this piece of metal at work. It was torn off one of the containers, and it's this sort of wiggly piece of metal with random lumps of welding on it, where it was part of a metal cage, and I always thought it looked sort of like a twig, and I had this thing in mind for a long time to make a sculpture out of it, like a fake potted plant with it. Well, I finally got around to starting work on it. I had tomato soup a couple of weeks ago when I was really sick, and I saved the can. And my idea is to fill it up with rocks, bit by bit, gluing the rocks all together at the bottom, like a layer of rocks, layer of glue, layer of rocks, layer of glue. So, and I wanted to spray paint the can red, so it looked sort of like a flower pot. So I went out yesterday to get the materials. I actually went out Friday and got this red spray paint and got the glue. But I didn't want to spend money on rocks, because I thought I could get them cheaper somewhere. So yesterday, I went out to get the rocks, and I thought, well, I'll go over to the botanical gardens and just maybe have, and the kind of rocks I wanted, like I wanted those smooth stream pebbles, little ones, but I didn't see any. I'm going to tell you something about the botanical gardens here. The University of Georgia botanical gardens are extensive, and they're beautiful, and they're really amazing. The whole complex is great. It was funny just going over there just for that one purpose. So you go all the way out there. It's on the outskirts of the campus. Park, walk determinedly in there, look around, and leave. So I wound up going to the dollar store and buying a bag of rocks. Not really what I wanted, but they're okay. So I started work assembling this whole thing. And, God, the dollar store is a real dump, isn't it? It's such an ugly store. I don't know how. Once I got a couple of other little random pieces of metal I'm gonna stick in there, and then I'm gonna try to find some stuff to glue onto the main stick for like fake leaves or fake blossoms or something. When I left the house, my wife was watching Operation Mincemeat, the true story of Ian Fleming's involvement with a British project to plant a dead body with fake documents so the Nazis would be deceived as to where the invasion of the continent would happen. I was very big into Ian Fleming for a while, so I know about that. I'll tell you, Ian Fleming wrote a newspaper column. I can't remember, it was like a Greek or Latin name that he wrote it under. And I wish they'd publish a collection of his newspaper columns. Very interesting. I don't know how much of a market there would be for it. Well, they probably wouldn't do it. You can publish it online. Oh my goodness. Had a really good weekend. Just started the final phase of the current painting. So it's down to where you're doing all the little details for each square inch of the painting. Since the border was a lot of little tiny details, slow going, but I got the border done at least. I'm trying to think what else happened. Oh, sorry. I thought I was going to have more to say about the high school days. My wife warned me not to do it because she thinks it's tacky or depressing or something to constantly be really reliving the high school days. But, my attitude was always, well, yeah, it's tacky and stupid if you're doing it because, oh, those were the best days of my life. I was king of the campus back then. But my aims have always been to tell horror stories, and I think that's okay, they treated us bad and they said stupid things and gave us false information. I'll tell you one. Being Republican, they were very much anti-environmentalist. As a matter of fact, they thought it was foolish to be against the nuclear arms race because this was their reasoning. The Bible doesn't say that man will destroy the planet. It says that God will destroy the planet. Therefore, we can't possibly destroy the planet. So we can just pile up the nuclear arms and we can dump poison in the ocean and it's fine. Don't worry about it. So one of the science teachers said was getting on this topic one day in class, and he said the environmentalist succeeded in having DDT banned. Well, there's nothing wrong with DDT. The Nazis used to dump it on the Jews to delouse them. It's hard to say that. To delouse them. I had to go through the teachers one by one in my mind. That's the way I ought to do it. There's so many creepy bullies over there. I was looking forward to taking typing class when I was, must have been 9th grade, because I wanted to be a writer, so I wanted to learn to type properly. And, taking typing class was probably the most beneficial thing I ever got out of that school. I will say that because I was fat up until I was 15, and I joined the football team in 9th grade. And it taught me how to work out. I'd never exercised before. And that's how I was able to lose weight. I don't know what else to say. I'm really sorry. I thought I was going to have more to talk about. I'd have a list of specific incidents that happened over there. They were obsessed with... They didn't give a damn about teaching you anything substantive. Math, science, literature, none of it. All they cared about was brainwashing you for life to being a good Christian Republican or Republican Christian. Take it whichever way you want. And to that end, they were always hustling us off on some adventure, some trip they claim, the intention here is fun, but really it was get some more preaching into them. That camp I've mentioned before, there's this, actually retreat is a better word, in North Carolina called the Wilds. Extremely fundamentalist. And there was this guy we went on a trip there in 4th grade. And then we went again. That was just a 4th grade class went. And there was basically just 2 nights, I think, up there. But then we went on, the whole high school went on a trip up there for a whole week, several years later. And there was a guy who worked there who was a complete asshole that was there on the 4th grade thing, and then several years later he was still working there, and he had a messed up leg and walked with a cane, and he gave a sermon one night there on the later trip, and he said he had 2 little kids that had died, and he said, people ask me, aren't you bitter at God for taking your children away? And I say, no, because they weren't my children in the first place. They were his to do with as he pleased. I think I've mentioned that before. Oh my God. Well, I guess we're approaching the end here. I'm going to have to keep like a little list of topics as they come to me. Had a really brutal last week. It was just... I had to carry the load. I had to do the work of 10 men. And now tonight I'm heading back in wearing the wrong shoes because I want to break these in. They don't feel comfortable already. Well, alright. Screw it. That's it. Bye-bye.